You know that feeling when it's just in your gut or it's in your heart and you know something's either just not right or not aligned in either personal life or in your business? Well, that could be telling you something, but it could also be an opportunity. And if you want to start listening to that part of your mind, part of your heart, part of your soul, you're going to want to meet today's guest to integrate those advantages into your business. Let me bring in today's guest, Karen Romine. All right, Karen. So talk to me a little bit about why entrepreneurs and founders come to you for business advice.
They come to me for business advice to look for the information that they can't already see. They want confirmation that they can move before they get the data to support their decision. They have a feeling and they want the confirmation to move on it.
Mm. Well, that's so true. When things are going well or things are not going well, we have gut feelings. Sometimes we don't feel aligned with what we're doing or what's happening, and it may be totally disattached from the results. But what are some of the types of decisions people come to you thinking, "Man, Karen, can you help me sort through this?"
Boy, what you said is so true. And it comes honestly at all ends of the decisions that people make. It could be as simple as I've got three candidates for a job and they all look great and I want the strongest one. It could be something as big as, hey, I've got a deal, it's closing. We had this very situation last week. I've got the documents, but something feels a little bit off to me. And we went back through and looked both strategically and with psychic intelligence to make sure that this deal was going to be aligned for them in all aspects. So it really can run the gamut.
Well, and what a powerful asset to have you in their corner. Because this isn't just something that is like a hobby for you. I mean, you've worked with the FBI. You've worked with some really, really high-end companies here. Give me a little feel for what that's like to bring to someone who may be skeptical at first. How do you even introduce this topic?
I think it's very healthy for all of us to be skeptical. Especially, we want the FBI and law enforcement to be skeptical. And I am retained by both on a regular basis to help find missing people, to work on cold cases. So I guess I usually say if the FBI or law enforcement can trust psychic intelligence, then maybe there's a little bit of hope out there. I do try to set it up at the beginning where we do just a one-on-one session where I can give what I call non-Googleable information. And that's when they get some nugget that gives them the belief and understanding that there is more there and that there's no way I could have known that. And generally speaking, that's when they take that step from skeptic to believer.
And really, but that also comes by to you have business experience, entrepreneur experience yourself. I mean, yes, you have this massive advantage, but then you're also able to take it deeper and say, hey, okay, this doesn't feel right. Here's kind of why, but then what are we going to do about it? I mean, you also consult on that front as well.
Absolutely. I spent over 30 years using my intuition, but not really focused in understanding that in the corporate space. I've relied on it for the entire 30 years. And now I have a better understanding of how I'm receiving that information, how I'm giving that information, and how we're working with psychic intelligence at the same time that we're looking at the strategic information, the data, the nuts and bolts of the deal.
No, that's so valuable. So, do you find do you ever work in groups of like teams, or are you working with an individual of the founder, the owner, the director? Do you ever do anything for the group of the company?
Absolutely. I work generally speaking first with the founder, the entrepreneur. They usually come in for something very specific, but we have to remember that they have their own intuition, their own alignment. And then they have the business, and the business has its own alignment. And then we have the C level, and they're all working at their own alignment. So oftentimes, when there's a specific goal for the business, which hopefully there always is in some way, shape, or form, I come in and work with the whole C level to help make sure that everything is in alignment.
No, that's awesome. And you mentioned a little bit of how this starts and how it's like to work with you. If someone did want to go through that process with you, is there an application? Where do they find out about how to get started?
The best thing to do, honestly, is to go to my website, KarenRomine.com. They can connect with me there. And then I always start in just a general conversation. It's important to me that it's a good fit for me and it's a good fit for them. So we usually have a conversation. We talk about some initial goals, what that might look like from my side, and where it is we both see it going. Then, if we think it's a good fit, we move on to the next steps.
That makes sense. And I want to change gears just a little bit, Karen. Tell me a little bit about your speaking career. I mean, you go on stages, you do the virtual stages. How'd you get into that?
I guess it probably started in third grade when my teacher sent home a note that I talked too much. I love to share this information. I want to spread it so people understand it better. I say that good leaders decide with data, and great leaders trust their psychic intelligence. And so by going out on stages, I was recently on a stage in Los Angeles at Wild Axiom, and I won that speaking event because people are so engaged. It's new, it's exciting, and I'm able to show them how they can go and apply it in their everyday life. I'm going to Boston in a few months to speak to authors or potential authors. And you might not see how that all fits together, but when we can listen to our intuition, when we can get that inner voice, it really makes everything smoother.
No, that's awesome. Now, is this something that you help develop in people, or is it something that they're just bringing you for the yes no?
Yeah. Both.
Okay.
I do want people to be able to have the skills to exercise the muscles to bring this as something that they can use in their everyday life. It's important that we have this for big decisions, but also for everyday decisions that we make to save time. It's our most valuable commodity. So I work a lot with my clients to show them how to utilize their own intuition, how to get their own information. And then at the same time, I'm always here and we're always working together because oftentimes we just need that confirmation. So then I'm here for that also.
Oh, that's an incredible thing. And again, for someone who maybe hasn't even heard of this before, I mean, this is you had some people come in that you don't have to be in tuned, enlightened, whatever word you want to use. This is something you don't have to be like all dialed into to actually benefit from this and get started, do you?
Absolutely not. Every single one of us has the ability to do this. We have, maybe we call it a gut feeling or our intuition. I call it psychic intelligence. It's when we walk into a room and we just get a feeling right away for how the meeting's going to go. Or we meet someone for the first time and maybe something feels off or maybe something feels great. That information that's coming in before we get the proof is our gut feeling, our psychic intelligence. So everybody has it. I say the best at it is children because no one has ever told them not to trust that voice.
That's you're hearing the gold, I think, of this interview right there. It's something that we all have, and we all can relate to having that feeling of at some point. I mean, for me, Karen, it was whenever I've had to buy a house and I've looked at houses. I don't even need to walk in to get a gut feeling on a house, but I never really equated it to this type of feeling ability, or by the way, that this could even be applied to business.
Absolutely. It can be applied to every aspect of your life. I wrote a book about it, The Future of Decisive Choice. It's about biohacking your mind with AI. So we're in an environment now where we can get data on anything, right? AI will support any decision, pro or con, it will find the support. But what we haven't figured out yet is how we can use those tools to look at all aspects from moving across the country, changing jobs, dating someone, ending dating someone, whatever that looks like. It runs the gamut. But we get acclimated to testing it a little bit more in our personal life because when we move it into business, we see much bigger ramifications when we don't want it to be public if things go left instead of right. And so it's an interesting new in the big scheme of things, but there are many, many, many famous people out there who have used different forms. Nancy Reagan was one who spoke freely about using an astrologer.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of people that have trusted outside of themselves.
So what would they get out of reading your book?
Wow, they get a lesson in life, I think. The book is called The Future of Decisive Choice. And what they are able to do is dabble into AI, whether you're comfortable with it or not, whether you have a paid plan or not. It asks questions, or in AI speak, prompts to lead you down a path to start to listen to your own intuition. And it runs from personal decisions to business decisions and everywhere in between.
Well, and you see it all the time in business that when maybe your personal life does get to be a bit of a mess, that it will drag the business down along with it. And it can go both ways. So it is important to have be able to address issues and attack them more directly. And if you have that gut feeling that something's wrong, to figure out what.
If I am a firm believer that if this is not healthy, that business is not going to be healthy. We're all energetic beings. We're predominantly water. We definitely vibrate. And when we're sick or when we're stressed, or there's that saying, stress kills, when we get out of that alignment within ourselves, it impacts not just the people that we're around and our own self, but our business, everything that we interact with.
Absolutely. And then we bring that home too. It goes it absolutely goes both ways. So
Yes.
at this point, if you're looking at this thing and say, "Wow, this is interesting," I got that misalignment, I got that gut feeling that something's wrong, or maybe you get the gut feeling that something could be right, and you need to know whether you have the confidence to explore, invest, put your time and your resource, energy, maybe behind a shift or something new. Get some validity behind what you're
Absolutely.
talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a very popular story that's out there about Sarah Blakely, and she said it herself. She wanted to go out and have mills produce pantyhose with no toes. She had determined that she liked her toes out with her painted nails in her sandals, and all of the data, all of the mills, all of the information said no. And she couldn't get it there, but she knew that that information to her, that inner knowing, was that women would love this. And so she proceeded. She proceeded really just with her own confirmation. So she may have had outside confirmation from friends or other people, but publicly she's really just said that she did that with just following her inner knowing to a huge success.
I love that because you see things all the time that ideas pop in our head and we're like, we don't do anything about it. And 5 years later, we see it on TV. Like, I had that
Oh,
idea, right?
absolutely. And it could be something as big as I have a client that went from stuck at $10 million dollars in annual revenue to selling their business for, gosh, just short of $300 million dollars by trusting, trusting that voice. And then we see it all the way to the other side with sometimes we don't even realize it. We have to look back and understand, geez, there was something in there that told me that I really should have hired the other employee. And
Wow.
it takes a while for the data to catch up, for all of that information to catch up, to confirm that we really should have hired the other employee. So we see it on both sides.
That's incredible. So if you're watching this, you want to know how to book that call or learn more. Her website's been on the screen. If you're watching this, it's in the description somewhere in this video. Wherever you're seeing this, take that action, book that call, do a little research on this. Bring the skepticism, right? I mean, this is where she thrives. This is
Absolutely.
her arena, guys. Don't waste, don't wait. Book that time and really bring that critical decision or that misalignment to her and let her sort it out for you.
Absolutely. I encourage you to bring the skepticism.
Very cool. Well, let me change gears for 1 second. I'm going to ask you a question. How many people know this about you? Is this something that pretty much everyone that knows you knows about this, or is something that you kind of keep under wraps?
I don't intentionally keep it under wraps, but I would say most people don't know. Maybe I'm definitely a secret weapon to my clients. So there's a lot of, people don't put it out there. It's something that they want for their own work, their own businesses. And then for me, it's either I'm comfortable and I know the space is good and I feel like you're open to the situation, and so we have the conversation. Or in my personal life, I have my personal social media and then I have my work social media. Now, my work social media, LinkedIn, X, those type of profiles, I'm out there. I put it out there. I think that it is a great weapon that we all have and that we should all utilize.
I love that. I love that. Because that's usually one of the questions I ask in these interviews is what's something most people don't know about you? And I wanted to see if this was it. I mean, what a cool, as you kept it, best kept secret
Yeah.
to some very successful people, companies, and clients.
Yes, absolutely. I would say this is one thing that a lot of people don't know about me.
I love it. Well, find that website, do that research, book that call. Karen, I want to thank you for being here today. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with?
I would say just remember, as I said a few minutes ago, good leaders decide with data, but great leaders trust that psychic intelligence.
Very cool. Karen, thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.